While we talk about people on the move, our next story features an artist who lives her life nearly motionless. Erin Brady Worsham, actress and painter, is paralyzed by amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. But her mind is full speed ahead, sending powerful creative messages to limited muscle movement for the creation of art that makes you stop and appreciate her talent and her spirit. Early morning, in a quiet corner of the kitchen, an artist releases her imagination from a body that holds her physically captive. A sequence of computer beeps is her equivalent to the sound of a brush stroking canvas. Muscles above her eyes manipulate a mouse that carries vibrant visions from her mind to the screen, where she paints with pigments made of pixels.
I use the computer just like anyone else. I use Microsoft Paint just like anyone else. The only difference is how I move the cursor on the screen.
The paralyzing disease that locked the artist nearly motionless in her chair has also stripped her speech. So Erin Brady Worsham lets her talent and technology do the talking for her. The computer converts her keystrokes into speech.
I really don't want people to know much about my art before they see it, because they tend to get hung up on the time-consuming way it is made, and not the work itself. I want people to bring their own stories to my work.
Erin's art is appealing not only because of her creative style and unusual method, but because they reflect stories of her life. She shared her collection with crowds across the country and even in Canada with a series of exhibits sponsored by the Society of Art and Healthcare. As we see in this home video, the tour made a stop at Western Kentucky University, her alma mater, where professors remembered a talented and spirited young student who majored in theater and German. Back in Tennessee, Erin's paintings were part of an exhibit of artists with disabilities at the Frist Center for the Visual Arts in Nashville.
I see in Erin's work a great graphic sensibility, something that she brought in terms of, there's a kind of flatness to the work, which is very modernist in its origination, and yet there's tremendous depth in terms of the emotion that she conveys, and also a sense of hope and the indomitable spirit that goes behind the work.
I don't think there's anybody in the world that does what she does.
Erin's husband, Curry, has watched Erin go from dark days when art was far removed from her mind to a time when she embraces it.
Curry has been my best friend for almost 28 years. We have been on many adventures together, and we have weathered more than a few storms.
This guy's escaped. But he seems to stay there through all the pictures. No, he doesn't? Okay.
He has also seen her paintings evolve from primitive pictures to complex compositions. When she created Big Wheels, he began to realize her potential.
Before that, she'd been experimenting, little scribbles, and she'd done the Super Bowl picture for the Titans going to the Super Bowl with the Rams. Still a very basic picture, she's very angular. And then she did this Big Wheels, and I saw her working on it, but I didn't quite see what it was all going to be. And then, it's like one day I come in and it was sort of in a more finished thing, and I literally was, wow. To this day, it's still very impressive because it has such strength and movement in the picture.
Erin has never really known a world without art. These pictures are the creative expressions of her late mother.
I grew up with art because my mother was an artist. She applied her art training to everything in her life, whether it was decorating a room or sewing matching Easter outfits for us. I learned about art by seeing what she valued.
The performing arts became Erin's first professional pursuit.
I ended up becoming a professional actress. As a character actress, I often had to put on special makeup, which was literally painting on my face.
It was on stage where Erin captivated not only her audiences, but also the man who would become her husband. He was an actor too. They met at a theater in Rock Island, Illinois.
I took one look at him and knew he was the guy for me. It took Curry a little longer to decide that. We got married 7 years later.
They eventually settled in Nashville, where Curry continued his passion for performance, singing with a contemporary country quartet while selling encyclopedias to pay the bills.
Curry enrolled me in art school. I never would have had the guts to do it myself. I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be.
But then, a series of medical tests in September of 1994 changed her entire perspective. She was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS.
The doctor told me I was going to die.
I mean, ALS literally just one muscle at a time just takes away just about every muscle in your body, gradually, one at a time.
ALS doesn't discriminate based on size and strength. In fact, it's more commonly called Lou Gehrig's disease, for the legendary New York Yankee slugger known as the Iron Horse.
I might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
Erin Brady Worsham also has a lot to live for, and with the help of a respirator, she has survived much longer than Gehrig. She credits a miracle as her motivation to keep going.
Curry and I had wanted a child for 6 years. It was truly a miracle when I got pregnant the day after my diagnosis. All thoughts of death were swept away. I was going to be a mother. My pregnancy was one of the happiest times of my life.
Despite the impact ALS was already having on her body, she was able to deliver her son Daniel naturally, with the help of Curry and some friends.
I've heard, like, in some of her stories that the doctor actually recommended aborting me. So, I think he got fired after that, I'm not sure.
Daniel fights emotions when he considers the unique challenges facing his family. Sometimes a tear reveals the struggle.
It just happens when I talk about my mom.
I think that will be a big part of his life all the way through his life, long after we're gone, that, you know, that he grew up this way, because it is a very unique way to grow up. Not just with somebody who's in a wheelchair, but somebody who's a quadriplegic and has a real extreme disability and doesn't talk and doesn't hug you or anything, you know, so. But that's his world. He accepts all that. They have a very wonderful and unique relationship, Daniel and his mother.
Daniel is the spark in my life. I like for him to see me working on art because I want him to know that having a disability doesn't stop you from being a productive individual. And just maybe he'll learn a little something about art, like I did from my mother.
Some of her pictures are actually pretty cool, how, like, with the Mona Lisa, it looks like resembles it, just doesn't look as old and tattered, but it's like, well, if you looked at it from a distance, it probably looked like the real one, except for the wheelchair right there, because Mona Lisa's in a wheelchair.
Wheelchairs show up in many of Erin's paintings, revealing the hurt she has experienced through the insensitivity and ignorance of others.
I want people to know I am a thinking, feeling, human being. I can deal with the disease. I just can't always deal with the people.
This painting is a self-portrait entitled Head Turner.
This picture reflects my life experience after many years of ALS. The effects of the disease are apparent on my face, as is the trach protruding from my neck. This piece poses the question, who is the head turner? The cute child, the beautiful woman, or the person with the disability?
What she speaks to is something that touches each and every one of us. We all have limitations, we all have imperfections, and we struggle against those constantly. And she shows us by example that by not giving into those, that we have a great deal to contribute.
I got a kick out of turning the tables in this piece. Sometimes I feel like that woman, as if I am the only so-called normal one in the bunch, and all the people without disabilities are from another planet.
But it's not all about social statements. Sometimes it's just for fun, or even fantasy. Go Fast reflects her fascination with competitive snow skiing in a depiction of Olympian Brody Miller giving Erin a quick trip down the slopes. And then she's connected online with the director of a special ski adventure program.
She did a picture of him based on a speech that he had given where he called the people with disabilities who were skiing a magic carpet ride. And it's a wonderful picture that shows him on a magic carpet flying down over top of the ski slope. And of course she had him wrapped around a little finger at that point. He invited her up to come and do the program, and it turned out that they were going to take care of everything.
It was incredible.
But life isn't always on the mountaintop. You have to come back down to everyday reality. And that's where Erin's faith and spirituality help shield her from despair.
God is always near. I am never alone. Human beings are amazing creatures. We have a high tolerance for enduring hardship and an endless capacity for hope. Regardless of the outcome of your battle with a serious illness, it is a journey of discovery and spiritual revelation. You are brought to your knees. You learn what's important in this world, or maybe you just learn that the things of this world are not important, except for love and kindness.
Erin is a multi-talented artist who also loves writing. She sometimes puts her communication skills to work writing articles as an advocate for the disabled and patient rights. Erin tells us it is not her goal to be an inspiration to people, but clearly she is.